Hi friends, today we are going to discuss and know more about the role of motivation in learning. And the learning objectives which are there out of this small segment interaction is we get to know what is motivation, what is intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, then how does motivation help in learning, and how can a teacher build intrinsic motivation for better performance. Now let's look at definition. What do we understand by motivation as such? Before we get to know the importance of motivation. Now motivation is an internal state or conditions sometimes described as a need, desire or want that serves to activate or energize behavior and give it a direction. Now motivation, as this small picture can make you little bit understand better in a pictorial manner, is something which need is there, which activates you, gets you going. It maintains us also to keep us going, and then it guides us. It determines where we are trying to go. So it activates, maintains, guides the behavior over time. So behavior is the thing which is very important, which gets modified with time due to motivation. And this motivation is a very important aspect, is a very important component which leads to success. And as teachers, we are more concerned about how to handle our children, how to motivate our students for success, and how can we change their behavior which will lead them to success, which will activate their behavior, which will maintain their behavior, which will guide their behavior towards success. Now motivation results from the interaction of both conscious and unconscious factors. So it is a result of interaction of unconscious and conscious. It could be intensity of desire or need, then incentive or reward value of the goal, and then expectations of the individual, what he thinks he wants to be and where he wants to reach. Now there are two basic classifications of motivation. One is extrinsic, which is external. Another is intrinsic, which is internal. Now both are important factors which play a very important role. Extrinsic motivation is motivation to perform and succeed for the sake of accomplishing a specific result or outcome. And this comes from influences which are outside the individual. And common extrinsic motivators are rewards and the threat of punishment. They work as important motivators for change in behavior, and learning is a change in behavior. As educators, we are concerned with this change in behavior, modifying behavior. So, the extrinsically motivated learners, they may have to be enticed, and they may have to be given certain rewards or some punishments or threats or applause, various things a teacher uses in the classroom in terms of extrinsic motivation, which is outside the individual. These factors are outside the individual, outside the learners. Whereas on the other hand, intrinsic motivation arises from a desire to learn a topic due to its inherent interests for self-fulfillment, enjoyment, and to achieve a mastery of the subject. The individual is driven from within to improve his performance, to do well. He is happy doing it because he loves doing it. And this motivation exists within the individual rather than relying on external pressures or desires for reward. So, an intrinsically motivated learner will tackle assigned tasks willingly and are eager to learn classroom material and he is more likely to process information in more effective ways. And because he is motivated from within, he will try to find ways to achieve his goal, various ways to achieve his goal. But yes, he wants to achieve his goal. Now, goals orientation, there are various kinds of, again, the way things can be looked as goals, like performance goals, where a student is motivated by the desire to gain recognition from others and earn good grades. Because I want to get an A in this subject, because it may give appreciation from the teachers, from parents and from others. Oh, this boy got A in mathematics, wonderful. Another goal orientation is learning goals. Now here the student is motivated by desire for knowledge acquisition and self improvement. Here the learning goal is, I want to master this subject and I will do what it takes to complete it, to accomplish it. Now, how motivation affects learning and behavior? Let's look at this particular aspect. Motivation affects learning and behavior. How does it happen? Let's see. Now, social cognitive theorists propose that individuals set goals for themselves and direct their behaviors accordingly. Now, motivation determines the specific goals towards which learners strive, and that is why it affects the choices students make. So, if we are motivated, we will make certain choices and we will try to find ways to achieve the goal. Like for example, if the student, he wants to get into admission in a good college, or maybe he is keeping his eye on IIT, getting into IIT, what will he do? He may attend coaching classes, he may be more attentive in the classroom, he may get books from various places, maybe mathematics by different authors, physics by different authors, try to read and solve as many numericals as he can, and with the ultimate aim that yes, he is going to perform well so that he can enter into a college of his choice. So, all these behaviors the individual is indulging in, all because he is motivated to achieve his goal, which is entering into IIT, the college of his choice. Here motivation is the most important component which is making him work towards that goal. And then what happens? Motivation leads to increased effort and energy. There is increase in effort and energy because we are highly motivated. So, motivation increases the amount of effort and energy that learners expend in activities directly related to their needs and goals. It also determines whether they pursue a task enthusiastically, wholeheartedly or apathetically. So, whether he is entering into a particular task, he is trying to perform a task, pursue a particular task in great enthusiasm, or oh, I have to do, my mom is telling me she wants me to get 80% or 90% and I am not interested. I am not interested in science. Why should I take up mathematics? I am interested in literature, but no one is even trying to hear what I have to say. So, if there is such a child, he will not be enthusiastic about his studies in science. And this we as parents, as teachers, we need to remember. So, what is it that is motivating him? If something is demotivating him, why are we pushing this child for that particular task? Is a question all of us as teachers, as parents, as guardians, we need to ask ourselves. Again, here also motivation plays a very important role, and that is why it will depend on enhanced learning. Whether if the child is motivated, learning will be good. If the child is not motivated, learning will not happen, or effective learning will not happen, even though the child is very intelligent. We need to understand this particular aspect. Another issue is motivation increases initiation of and persistence in activities. So motivation is the thing which helps us catch and sustain the attention, the persistence of activities towards a particular goal. Like learners are more likely to begin a task they actually want to do. And not only begin, they will be persistent also. They are also more likely to continue working at it until they have completed it, even though there may be occasional interruptions or frustrations in the process. So what? If the child feels that he is happy, he wants to do it, he will do it, come what may. So in general then, motivation increases students' time on the task. He will spend more time, which is an important factor which affects learning and achievement. Practice makes perfect. So he will continue doing the task, and wherein he will practice that particular task to his satisfaction, and not because teacher is after him or the parents are after him or the tutors are after him. He is learning to do because he wants to do. This factor is very, very important, which we as teachers also need to realize and understand. Now motivation affects cognitive processes. Motivation affects what learners pay attention to and how effectively they process it. For instance, motivated learners often make a concerted effort to truly understand classroom material, to learn it meaningfully and consider how they might use it in future. So if I am motivated or a particular child is motivated, he will be more attentive in the class. He will find what is happening in the class more meaningful, and he will be able to use it in future also. So he will be making use of many such things which interest him. But something which does not interest him will go into the back of his mind. It will not come in front, because the child is not concerned about it. He does not find the subject or the topic or the classroom material meaningful enough to be given more attention. And why does it happen? Because he is not motivated. But if he is interested, he will do anything in various ways to understand the thing, to know more about it, and he will maybe Google about that topic or reads from somewhere or talk to some elder to get to know more about the topic. That is why motivation affects cognitive processes. Motivation also determines which consequences are reinforcing and punishing. Yes, this is also a very important component. The more learners are motivated to achieve academic success, the more they will be proud of an A and upset by a low grade. So if people are known that yes, getting A grades will lead to recognition, will lead to more affection, or will lead to giving them a sense of achievement and accomplishment, they will naturally be very happy, very proud to get A, and will be disturbed if they get a low grade. And the more learners want to be accepted and respected by peers, the more they will value membership in the in-group. So in-group means group which has all the students who score an A. And if they are not able to score A, they will be distressed by the ridicule of classmates, because they will not be part of that in-group. So this also affects relationships, and motivation determines what happens what happens to these social relationships which are formed in the classroom and outside the classroom also. Again, a very important thing which we as teachers need to understand, the social matrix which happens in the classroom. Now motivation enhances performance. Whatever we have been discussing till now, it also amounts to saying that motivation enhances performance. Because of the other effects which we have discussed just now, goal directed behavior, enthusiasm, efforts, energy, initiation, persistence, cognitive processing, impact of consequences. So all these things interplay and they motivate the individual for an improved performance. And thus, such students who are most motivated to learn and excel in classroom activities tend to be achievers, and not only achievers, high achievers. So, it's again a very important aspect. Okay, saying is very simple and interesting that yes, we need to motivate students, motivation is very important, but how to motivate students? Now, motivating students is a challenge that almost all teachers face, isn't it? It's very important, but it's a challenge. And students need to be motivated in order to focus on the task that they will accomplish. Now, the moot question is, how do we motivate the students? Now, building student motivation requires commitment also on the part of teachers. Teachers also need to be committed. Yes, they can do it and they will do it. And how to make it real? In order to foster intrinsic motivation, try to create learning activities based on topics to be taught. Learning should be practical. Help students find personal meaning and value in the material. They should be able to connect with what is being taught in the classroom and the outside world. And various teaching learning strategies like live models, videos, stimulators can be used in the classroom which will catch and sustain the attention of the students. So, if the students find learning fun, they will be more interested to learn. Provide choices. Now, what to do, how to do in this? Students can have increased motivation when they feel that some sense of autonomy in the learning process is there, and motivation declines when students feel that they have no voice in the class structure. Now, what is this about? Let's see. Options can be as simple as letting them pick their lab partners, that okay, they are having choice, you can pick your own partner, or select from alternate assignments. So, everybody is given 3 or 4, you choose which one you want to do, or as complex as. Now, these two were simple assignments with the examples which I gave just now. It could be a complex one like contract teaching. Now, what is this? Here, students can determine their own grading scale, due dates and assignments. That okay, this assignment needs to be done, but when do you want to draw the deadline? And what is the grading scale which should be used? And the number of assignments and related issues can be given to students as options and let them decide for themselves. So, when students feel that they are also equal partners in teaching learning process, they will be more happy. And if they are happy, they are motivated to learn more, to learn better. And this improves effective teaching learning process. And then what happens is, students feel that they love their teachers, they enjoy. So, when the students are comfortable, they are happy, they enjoy what is happening in the classroom process, then they will be able to be better students, perform better, go beyond the textbooks, which actually the teacher wants. Because who is an effective teacher? Effective teacher is one who helps teach beyond the textbooks. An effective teacher is also who helps his student find his own self, which is beyond the curriculum, beyond the textbooks. And this will happen only when the teacher is able to motivate his students to think better, to act rationally, and to deal effectively with his environment. So, this is also very, very important. So, when the student is given review questions in the beginning for the lesson, they are writing some action plan before beginning a project, and they are able to fine tune the challenge that okay, this was a task given to them, but this was a task given to them, but naturally they are not able to do that, or they don't want to do that, or they want to modify the challenge. Let them do it. Let them change the assignment. Let them fine tune the challenge which has been given. So this is also very important. We are most motivated to learn when the task before us is matched to our level of skill, which is not so easy and not so boring, not so hard and not so frustrating, which becomes unattainable. And deliberately fashion the learning exercise so that students are working at the very edge of their abilities, which is again difficult, tough, but not impossible. So designing such activities, designing such learning exercises also become challenging for the teachers. So teachers have to be very, very attentive in the teaching learning process and make the task interesting and as challenging as they can. And this is again, mind you, learners, it's not that every teacher can do it. It requires different kind of set abilities, interest, and again, to be an effective teacher, one should be motivated to become an effective teacher. Scaffolding is one instructional technique, whereas the challenge level is gradually raised as students are capable of more complex tasks. So scaffolding in constructivism is a very important instructional technique, and this again depends upon how motivated even the teacher is in using various techniques to bring fun in the classroom, to make the child enjoy what is happening in the classroom. So fine tune the challenge is also important. It's not merely important only for the teachers or students, it's also important for teachers as well. Another challenge, when the teachers can do, if the teachers can do, and where the teachers can do, is to encourage students to beat their personal best. What is this? Help students set achievable goals for themselves. So some of the techniques we have discussed today, so this is also very important. We are encouraging students to beat their personal best. So we are helping students set achievable goals for themselves. We generate motivation by encouraging students to compete against themselves, to run through the material once to establish a baseline, then keep track of how much they improve in speed and in accuracy each time. At the same time, as teachers, we have to be careful to avoid creating intense competition among students. It is very, very important. Again, it requires fine tuning by the teachers themselves, and how effectively we are able to motivate different diverse learners in the classroom also depends upon the motivation level of the teacher. So before pointing a finger at the child, okay child, I am going to help you improve your motivation, these other fingers, they are pointing towards us also. How we can improve our motivation to be effective teachers. So that also plays a very important role. So to the extent we are motivated and in the classroom, we are happy in the classroom, we help students also increase their motivation level, enhance their motivation level. And that is where the students are seeking role models. Even we as teachers are seeking role models, which are senior teachers. The management also play a role, but remember, if we as adults need role models to perform better, how important it is for the students also to seek role models to perform better. to sustain their motivation. So if students can identify with role models, they will be more likely to see the relevance in the subject matter. They will be able to connect with what is happening. There can be many sources of role models. It can be some invited guest speaker, fellow student, or even their peer, a senior. And they learn also by watching a peer succeed at a task. Now this is very, very important. Now establish a sense of belonging. This is how they will establish a sense of belonging, and they will be happy to be in the classroom, which is full of fun, full of love, full of care, full of nurturing relationship between teacher and the taught, teacher and the child. And teacher is there, is looking at the child not merely as somebody who is there to learn what the teacher has to say that day, discuss that day in the classroom. Teacher is the nurturer. He is happily doing. He is motivated to be there in the classroom. The way his demeanor is, the way his tone is, how happy he is there to be in the classroom that day. The happiness can be reflected from his eyes, from his face, from his demeanor, from his posture. And if the teacher is attentive in the class, teacher is happy in the class, teacher is comfortable in the class, the students will be. They will be motivated. And today we have discussed some of the techniques which the teachers can use apart from enhanced motivation of his own self. The teacher has to work on his motivation first. It's not pointing finger at the child. It is, I have to improve my motivation first to be in the classroom, and then work on the motivation of my students also. This will help me become better teacher. Now the question is important, that why should I do it? Why should I take care about enhancing motivation of the students? I have so many problems. I am going through this anxiety. I am going through this issue in my life. I have this particular problem. I have that particular problem. No one listens to me. No one cares for me. Why should I do it? My question, dear learners, is why should we not do it? We must enhance our own self first. We have to see ourselves beyond the problems. Problems will always remain. We have to look beyond these problems. And how do we do that? Very beautiful two lines I would like to say. Two men looked out from the prison bars. One saw the mud, the other saw stars. I'll repeat. Two men looked out from the prison bars. One saw the mud, the other saw stars. It again depends upon the motivation. So two persons in the same situation, but one person could not see beyond the prison bars he was locked in. Maybe it is imaginary prison bars, but he feels he is locked in, while the others could see stars beyond these bars. Now this is self-motivation. So if a teacher is motivated, the students will be motivated. That is for sure. And we as teachers are here to ensure that our students remain motivated lifelong. There is a saying, a teacher affects eternity. One can never tell when and where his influence stops. So with this, dear learners, I'll thank you for being so patient and attentive listeners. All the very best to each one of you. Remain motivated and be happy and successful in whatever you do. Thank you.